Our next speaker is John Hall. He is the Texas State Lead for the Clean Energy Program of Environmental Defense Fund, and as such, my boss, so I'm going to be extra sweet. In the 90s, he was the chair of the predecessor agencies for what's now the TCEQ and managed to consolidate those into one agency, which is a great accomplishment. And in the intervening years, he started, ran, owned a very successful energy, water, environmental consulting firm. Today, he's going to talk a little bit about the work that we've recently done at EDF, looking at how we can comply, Texas can comply with the Clean Power Plan. You should have a postcard in your packet that has the link to that report if you want to look at that report.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you very much, Kate. One of the privileges of life today is I get to work with Kate every day. Another one of my colleagues is in the audience, Lene Shirley, and we are actually having fun doing the things that we do. I'm going to talk around this one slide that is shown here. I think it basically conveys the message that I will be talking about for the next few minutes or so. First of all, let me make two overall arching statements. The first is this: I've had the opportunity to work on clean air and water issues in this state for almost 30 years. And I've seen the EPA propose and finalize lots of regulations pertaining to air quality, pertaining to water quality and waste management issues. And on the basis of a study that we have completed at EDF that I will come back to shortly, and my years of experience in working on these issues, I am absolutely convinced that the Clean Power Plan is by far the most favorable set of regulations the EPA has ever adopted as they relate to the state of Texas. Secondly, even if when you look at what Texas may be called on to do with regard to the Clean Power Plan for compliance, Texas should be doing those things anyway because they are the best opportunity we have to significantly grow our economy over the next 15 years and beyond. So let me explain those statements. First of all, thirdly, we were motivated by EDF to do this study because there were these predictions by various persons in the state that the Clean Power Plan would cause the state to face dire consequences. We would see utility rates for homeowners increase significantly, and that it would have devastating impacts on the state economy. We're working on these type issues across the country, and we were somewhat surprised by those predictions. And let me share with you why. In Texas, we're not only blessed to have more natural gas reserves than any other state, and of course we produce more natural gas than any other state. We have more potential for wind energy than any other state. We have more potential for solar energy than any other state. We have more combined heat and power production today and potential in the future than any other state. We have more energy efficiency potential than any other state. We have more demand response potential than any other state. And all of those forms of energy that I just talked about are solutions under the Clean Power Plan. So what the Clean Power Plan requires, we have in abundance. And these are resources that are already being economically deployed in this state. With regard to the study, we released the study, I think it was October 13th. We utilized a very conservative approach in completing the study. We focused on the ERCOT region, which comprised 90% of the state. We used ERCOT data. We wanted to be conservative, and we decided to rely on projections that ERCOT had released in various public reports in 2014 and during the course of 2015. We then utilized an industry-vetted analytical tool that had been developed by M.J. Bradley and Associates, and it was actually recommended to us by one of the largest generators in the state that we utilize that analytical tool because those generators across the country, including Texas, had helped finance the development of that particular tool. So the first thing we did was we looked at current market trends in Texas. Where do we stand today in terms of complying with the Clean Power Plan? The first thing we did was we ran two business as usual scenarios. One was based upon a report that I believe ERCOT issued in October of 2014 that did not consider the impacts of any of the pending federal regulations, regional haze, cross-state air pollution rule, or Clean Power Plan. And that incomplete business as usual scenario showed that without doing anything else but what is currently happening, Texas is on track to achieve 51% compliance with the Clean Power Plan. We then recognized that since the October 2014 report, ERCOT had released additional reports which showed more recent trends in the state. For example, in the 2014, in the first scenario, we projected that wind by 2030 would be at 14,000 megawatts per the ERCOT report. In June of this year, ERCOT updated wind projections for the state of Texas, noting that we would reach 17,000 megawatts by the end of this year and 23.4 megawatts by the end of 2017. We also utilized an ERCOT report that predicted that under current market trends, coal-fired generation, because of its coal-fired generation under the competitive market construct within ERCOT has been losing ground to natural gas and renewables over the past 10 years or so. And ERCOT, in one of its reports in 2014, projected that by 2030, natural gas would comprise 51% of the generation mix. So we took those new numbers and we put together what we call the EDF comprehensive current trend scenario, and that is what is shown with the yellow bar up on the screen. That scenario showed as a business as usual scenario, reflecting current conditions within ERCOT, reflecting current projections by ERCOT, shows that we are on track already to achieve 88% compliance with the Clean Power Plan. After conducting that review, we raised the question amongst ourselves about what path could Texas take to come into compliance. Under the Clean Power Plan, which provides states significant flexibility, Texas can pick any range of options to comply. We chose energy efficiency as a potential path forward for a couple of reasons. First, it is our most economical energy resource. Secondly, CPS Energy and Austin Energy, both of whom have very robust energy efficiency programs, are demonstrating through current programs that it is economically feasible to achieve energy efficiency levels at 10% or more within a 10-year period. And thirdly, and very importantly, energy efficiency has the added benefit of reducing customers' utility bills. And utilizing the M.J. Bradley tool, we constructed the middle chart, the light blue chart. The light blue chart reflects the results of our analysis. It showed that with 8% energy efficiency plus business as usual conditions, we could reach compliance with the Clean Power Plan. We then dealt with the question of, since Texas is so far down the road under business as usual to comply with the Clean Power Plan, and can do so with relative ease, what is the opportunity for Texas to, in fact, utilize the Clean Power Plan to grow the state's economy? And we did an analysis with the generation mix, very much like the generation mix related to compliance, with a few exceptions, and I will come to those. But it basically showed that with a generation mix of natural gas at 52%, and again, ERCOT is, in one of ERCOT's projections, it is projected that by 2030, we will reach our generation mix will be 51% natural gas. With regard to the beyond compliance scenario, with the generation mix at 52% natural gas, renewables at levels that ERCOT had projected, which ERCOT, I think, in the most recent releases, are projecting increases even over that level, and some additional things such as demand response, growing that by approximately 50% from current levels, taking energy efficiency from 8% to 10%, and something that's called volt-VAR reductions. Volt-VAR relates to right-sizing voltage to customers. There have been demonstration projects of it by American Electric Power in Ohio. It is one of the major private utilities operating in Texas. Showed that volt-VAR optimization practices could be implemented. In the demonstration project, they achieved a 3% reduction in energy use and about a 3% reduction in emissions, including carbon. So that scenario, with that type of generation mix, pretty much in line with what ERCOT is projecting we will be, except for a little bit more energy efficiency, and things such as increased levels of demand response, which is consistent with the growth that we're currently seeing within ERCOT, that would get us 40% beyond compliance. And the benefit of that, other than the Clean Power Plan, if we develop our own plan, is that we have the ability to sell those extra credits to other states who may have a more difficult time complying. So, because we have an abundance of clean energy resources, natural gas, wind, solar, demand response, energy efficiency, combined heat and power, we really have the opportunity to convert the Clean Power Plan from an environmental standard only to a very effective economic development strategy in this state. In addition to these huge economic benefits that we stand to realize, there are significant health benefits that will result. And tomorrow during the panel on water, Kate will share with you the very significant water savings that can result by us putting together a compliance strategy to comply with the Clean Power Plan to also grow our state's economy. And you will see from her presentation that the Clean Power Plan and/or increased utilization of clean energy resources is by far one of the most effective water supply strategies that we could undertake in the state. I understand we're going to be waiting until the next speaker has spoken before we have additional questions. Thank you for the opportunity.